We are getting really close to the reopening of the Disneyland Railroad. There's a surprise coming at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and the Haunted Mansion queue is now moving at light speed. Great news coming from the park, but perhaps nothing greater than this. I'll just leave that right there for now. We'll get back to that later. Let's next get out to the Esplanade and the main entrance. Obviously, all those gates are done out there, so our focus these days will be on those far left gates that are currently closed. They're being remodeled, redone. They're installing new turnstiles, and they will eventually extend that job all the way across all gates. Unfortunately, there's not much to see beyond those walls. That's pretty well obscured. So we'll go check in on what's happening over at the stroller rental, where the scrim and scaffold are down on the roof, and you can see a new, complete, refurbished roof line there. It looks really pretty, really clean. By the way, while we're out here in the Esplanade checking on these gates, I noticed that there was something missing from the Main Street station for the Disneyland Railroad. Look at that. Scrim is down. The scaffolding is still up, but the scrim is down, so we can see what they're up to. And by golly, they are up to quite a lot, I would say. We're going to be able to get a close look at some of the things that have been going on. We'll start right here in the middle, where you can see the windows have not yet been installed, but look at that. They've got some new, the wood shingles. And the first thing I noticed is that those shingles were significantly darker or differently toned than what I was accustomed to seeing, something that I find often, or just my eyes are telling me this feels different. Let's take a look at how they looked maybe like late August of this year when Halloween first happened. Yeah, those shingles there are considerably brighter, more of like a bleached brown. Perhaps, because of the fading from the sun over time, that could be the case, but certainly we've got a much more rich, deeper color going on here. You'll also note that the windows are still waiting to be replaced, but I don't think that's going to take very long. I think that we're getting pretty close to things wrapping up here. It's just the final stages, which is something we're going to note here as we go through the construction video. There's another window looking to be replaced, and then here's the clock, the iconic clock at the Main Street station. That looks clean. That looks freshly painted. Or whatever it is, whatever finish they put on those to make it look like shiny and gold. That looks really good. Really nice. And this extends there. You can see more of that deeper, richer color there on the sides of the station as well. They're on the left and they're also on the right. And of course, we'll observe that these construction walls, these tiny little construction walls, are still here. I wish I knew what the end game there was for that. There's the construction walls again from the other side for the main entrance gates. Can't see anything. There's not a single crack or seam anywhere in there. I cannot see what they're doing. We'll head through the tunnel. I'm just obsessed with I'm obsessed with the shingles here, and looking at how they look today versus how they did before, which we can do when we get on the other side. And there is the town square side of the Main Street station. And it looks like, yeah, they've got the same pattern happening here. Now, actually, I feel like this might be different. Let's take a look at a shot of the station from August, from this angle. And there is a discernible difference in just both the color, the tone, and I think even the pattern, perhaps. Yeah, definitely. We got a two-tone situation happening there before with the sort of teardrop-looking pattern. Whereas today, it's the same pattern or same type of shingle that they're using on the front. I'm laughing because I sometimes find myself being like, it's ridiculous how much detail and how much attention I pay. But they do look different, and probably for the better. I don't know. We'll see. When the scrim is down and the scaffolding is down, we're going to get a real good idea of, if we feel like it looks better or not. There, by the way, in this shot is a repaired window or a completed window. And there is the clock from this side of things here on the left. Saw some action happening on the far left side of things. And I was wondering if maybe they were going to put another finish or something on these shingles, because there's some painter's tape. That blue tape there is painter's tape that they used, when they're, painting. So I may have to come back and look and see what they were up to with that painter's tape. You can see it's all over the place as well. You got orange tape, blue tape there. just to protect the trim as they're painting something else. Checking in on those rails, the steps, we saw some like forms set up last week. The forms are not there anymore, but and everything looks to be as it was. So I'm sure it was what's happening there. What those forms were something below our sight line, below the line of those construction walls. Probably putting in new brick steps is my guess. So that's the Main Street Station. Let's get to the park on this brisk rope drop morning. We're shooting this at about 8:15 in the morning, and I found that Christmas has arrived here at the castle, at Sleeping Beauty Castle. Obviously, this is not the proper Christmas decorations. This is just for some other event. As it turns out, look at that. They've got the wreath up there and everything on the castle. It turns out that this was for a John Legend taping. They were filming John Lennon doing a Christmas special here. It was just last night as I record this on Friday night. So no, this is not permanent. There was some reaction on social the other day when we were posting this, but no, this is not permanent. If you were there in the park today, you probably will not see this. But comical nonetheless. Let's check in on Pixie Hollow. And I have cause to wonder if the fact that they're leaving that sign up there at these construction walls suggests that maybe there's still a future for that. I don't think so. As a matter of fact, something that I heard is that there was a possibility pre-COVID that they were going to lose Pixie Hollow completely and they were going to replace it with some DVC. Now, that wound up not happening because of COVID, and then they decided to put the DVC in the launch bay at Innovention. So I don't know what the future is for Pixie Hollow, but it's probably not good. I think long term, they want to do something else with the space, I think. But as we'll find out. But for now, let's board one of those space rockets and take a look over the wall. And things look about as we left them. Everything is still covered in that white tarp, both there where the lagoon is, and they've covered more of it. Let's look at that again. Yeah, they have definitely covered part of the approach into Pixie Hollow. Not the meet and greet itself, but that little scene they set up where all the little pixies have their homes. That's been covered in white tarp also. Now, we mentioned last week that this is not for that little light show. We still don't know exactly. I think it's just they were just resurfacing the bottom of things. They're resurfacing the flooring of that water feature, and it looks like it's taking a little bit longer. They've extended it again. It was supposed to be open on October 15th, I think it was. It was supposed to have reopened already at this point. They delayed it till November 1st last week, and this week they delayed it again by another 2 weeks. It is now scheduled to reopen on November 17th. So whatever they're doing is taking a little longer than they expected. Let's go ahead and hope that the reason why it's taking longer than expected because they're installing the Pixie Hollow light show. I don't think so. Probably not. We'll stay in Tomorrowland and go check in on Space Mountain, where some, kind of interesting developments happening here. We mentioned that the construction walls were still up. These guys here around certain aspects of the exterior of that entrance, the approach into the main queue for Space Mountain. But this wall, those construction walls right there are new. Those were not there last week, and I'm not sure what they're for still. I have not been able to identify any sort of movement in those small square structures there, the small square boxes. No movement there whatsoever. Nothing is happening in those boxes, and it doesn't seem like there's any sort of urgency, and it makes me wonder what they're for. Now, I have a thought though. When I was walking by, my eye said something has changed here. Something looks different about this view of the actual Space Mountain. And I shot it, and I said, I'm going to come back and look at this. I'm going to go back and look and see if there's any difference in how it was before. And sure enough, this is when Space Mountain reopened after the long closure, when they fixed the blue lights. This is how things looked. There was a shrubbery on those the left and the right planters there. It was a shrubbery, and then behind that, you could see a couple, perennials of some kind, succulents that are peeking out behind it. Today, they've taken the shrubbery out. Now, that could be what it looked like behind it, but now we can see it more clearly. And that's both on the left and right planters. I mean, I kind of like it. The shrubbery was kind of meh, right? When you look at it, we don't really pay attention to those things. It's something that we wouldn't have noticed, but this is an improvement. And now it makes me wonder if maybe what they're doing with these boxes aren't anything to do with electrical at all. Maybe they're putting in something else, like more planters, more more landscaping out here like these guys right there. I doubt it, but maybe, because there doesn't seem to be any action like these. Yeah, these two, as you approach the interior queue there, you're flanked by those two little trees. I don't know. We'll stay tuned. We'll see what happens. But now I'm curious. Now I'm really curious. I'm also curious that the clock is still gone. We still have that weird feature. I'm now like 95% sure. Feature, not a bug. Small World is next, where we have no news to report. Everything looks pretty much exactly as we left it last week. The gift shop, though, looks great. The painting has been done. The Small World gift shop, everything looks very bright and shiny and colorful there. This is a nice little glow up for the Small World gift shop. Look at that. Look how shiny everything looks. That's great. But yeah, I don't know what's happening here on that scrim at all. I just, no idea. Not a lot of movement here at the Fantasyland Theater, where we are expecting to find a Christmas setup for a Santa Claus meet and greet. Is going to happen. It's going to be something on the scale of what happened for Pixar Fest, is what I am told. Is that something along those lines is going to be happening here at the Fantasyland Theater for the holiday season. We'll head over to Fantasyland proper, Fantasyland A, where everything looks great. Everything is just popping here in Fantasyland. We even got the Pearly Band, Bert and Mary. Everything is better when Bert and Mary show up in Fantasyland. I tell you what, no matter how you're feeling, you come to Fantasyland and see those guys on the carousel, you're happy. And yeah, everything is good. Teacups are teacupping.
And while I'm in the spirit of things here in Fantasyland, and if you are so feeling inspired to plan a trip to Disneyland or to any Disney theme park, please do consider using our travel partner, Getaway Today. There's a link in the description below. They are a fantastic group of guys there. They will help you plan every part of your trip. Tickets, hotels, very knowledgeable, very kind, very helpful. I love Getaway Today, and they love us. So please join in and love Fest and use Getaway Today to make your travel plans here at Disneyland or at Walt Disney World or Aulani or Cruise or even Universal. Thanks, Fresh Bake.
We'll go to Frontierland next to check in on Big Thunder, where we advise that it's going to be going down for a refurb for a little while. We don't yet know what the date is on when it'll return, but I did check in and find that what's being done is not guest facing. It's all backstage type stuff. We're not backstage, but operational issues that they're going to be testing and installing, things that'll make the cast members' jobs a little easier, a little more interesting, but nothing guest facing. But we can hope that maybe they restore that waterfall. Hopefully that's just off for this thing, because that waterfall hasn't been open or running the last couple times I've checked by there. We'll cross over to the other side to get a quick look at the ADA elevator installation. It's a pretty good view from here, and things have progressed quickly on this building. It has been enclosed, and that I believe that is some sort of insulation happening there, that salmon color stuff, and they're probably going to be installing proper walls around that in the very near future. And you can also see the trellis that is being installed in front of it. We're going to look at that again when we get on the Mark Twain, which we do just now. And I thought, I'm going to get a shot of the Big Thunder while I'm here. And look at that, it just stopped. While I'm shooting some basic B-roll for Big Thunder, the train decided to park itself right on the top of that lift hill before you do the go trick. And I thought, oh gosh, watch us catch a breakdown here on accident. But there he goes. All right, we're back in action. Big Thunder's back. Now go look at the goat. It's about 9:30 a.m. as I record this. As I record New Orleans Square from the Mark Twain, so it's going to be a little less crowded than we've been seeing the past couple of weeks, but it was again crowded on this day. That's a 30-minute wait, posted 30 for Pirates, but it's not even close to that. This is probably a 15-20 minute wait. Here we're doing recon while I do this. Let's get looking at what's over the wall at Tiana's Palace in the little courtyard they have out there. We mentioned that tree in previous episodes. That tree has been installed, but we can't really see much. Looks like they're having a meeting, though. There's a meeting of some kind happening of Imagineers. Though, look at all those are brown hats. There's just a couple of white hats down there, but those are all Imagineers, which is a very good sign. A very good sign of the progress being made. When you've got more Imagineers than construction workers, that means they're nearing the finish and they're trying to give their thoughts and their impressions of what's happening. Also notice to the left in that frame, There's some exposed wood there. We're going to get back into that. They're building something right there on the left. But as always, the Mark Twain keeps moving. There's the trellis. We identified this, or we thought we referred to this as a canopy last week. We were justifiably corrected as the trellis. It is a trellis. Now, what we're seeing them build right there is not that green canopy over there in the new expanded cube next to the Disneyland Railroad. What we're looking at is, in fact, the proper queue, the rear queue. But the reason why I didn't identify this correctly at first is because I thought this whole time, this concept art in the lower right corner, I thought that was a picture of the ground. But that's the picture, that's a drawing, an impression of the top of the trellis that they're building there. And you can kind of tell now, I didn't notice this before, but there's some those vertical lines right there showing the upright, So the rear queue is going to be completely covered by this trellis, which is great. That is great. It'll be covered in that green and purple foliage, and then it'll be open in the back. They'll have switchbacks underneath there. So I'm really happy with that. I was happy with what we saw before, but I prefer that they cover that somehow. They cover it like they did. So that is a trellis that we're seeing there in front of the ADA elevator. So we should expect to find still the construction of that green canopy. That's not going to be a complicated build though. So even though we don't see it now, as we keep moving on the, stop. Okay. We ran out of space. Because I caught this out of my side of my eye over in the courtyard. It's only in frame for a couple seconds, but you can see that they have installed a couple thematic elements out in front. That's where the fountain is. They've installed some fountain features. We'll have to get back to that. Hopefully we can get a shot looking over the wall from the Disneyland Railroad, the New Orleans Square train station. But now we'll come back. And yeah, so trellis here on the right, and then eventually we should see them build the canopy. That's just steel. There's not a lot of, it's not a detailed or a complicated build, so I think we'll see that near the end. But that's going to show up right about where the wooden walls, the supports are there in the middle of your frame right now. On the other side of that tree, basically. Where that tree is, behind that is about where that canopy will be. Another covered area of the courtyard queue. Can I see it? Can you see it there still? I'm trying to see if we can see through those trees to find that wall with the themed elements, but I am not. So we'll slide back to the right and note that it looks like they put up some new. Is there new scrim back there? Have they even further obscured our view of things? Yeah, that trellis goes all the way to the other side. Oh, that's great. Digging that. That's gonna look really, really good in person, I believe. Now I mentioned that they were building something, or we could see they were building something where those Imagineers were talking. What we saw is that's the bandstand over at Tiana's Palace. The bandstand that, where the Jambalaya Jazz Band would play. And it looks like they are constructing, it's hard to see here, but there does look to be some new exposed wood and some new building element or wooden elements being added there. Let's look back again. We're too far away. Yeah, there you go. At the very end of this clip, you can see those wooden 2x4s installed there. We'll try to get on the ground and see that from the New Orleans Square train station. But for now, we'll check in on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which, as you know, this thing is almost done. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing to look at on this. There's nothing. It's pretty much done. So we got to avert or change our gaze to, here we go. We could look at a little bit more theming has been added down there. Final touches are being added. You can see a construction worker there adding some final touches to the bayou elements that are being added to that turnaround as you approach the second lift hill. And then as we come back to Critter Country, there's Raised Berets. The scrim and scaffold are down now, so we can see what they've been up to, and they've added sod. Guys, this is great news. You remember there was that grassy roof, and I really, really loved that grassy roof, and I think everybody else did too. And I was kind of sad that they took it down, but they have actually they're restoring the grass roof. That's real sod. That's real grass that they're putting on there. There's soil underneath that, and they plant that sod, and then over time, it'll grow and become like it was before, which is just wonderful. Guys, that's got to make you feel at least some kind of good, right? It's got to make you feel some kind of good that they are preserving quite a bit of what Critter Country was. I'm really pleased with that. And like I said, it's not a finished product. They haven't even finished putting all the sod down. It looks messy right now, but trust me, when this is done, and give it, I don't know, maybe 3-6 months or something like that, you're gonna see maybe, yeah, probably about that long, maybe 6 months. You'll see some proper grass there. We can also see, as I discuss this, we can see for raised berets. Guys, that's the raised berets sign right there. Let's get a closer look. You got a sun hat, a straw hat, a bowler, another straw hat, a top hat on Ray's beret sign, and Ray himself, I believe, is holding an actual beret. Do you think they will sell a sun hat or a straw hat or a top hat or a bowler at Ray's Berets? I might just be inclined to buy one of those. I could see myself buying a straw hat, perhaps. We can see there's a construction worker there at the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. It looks like he's cleaning up that little thing they use to close up the shop when they're done. Once more, there's cast members down there, but these cast are in costume. They're not wearing the construction vest, so that means the construction is done, I would assume, and these guys are in proper training right now. Hungry Bear is supposed to reopen on October 25th. That'll be next Friday. Okay, let's take a look now. We'll go to the New Orleans Square train station, see if we can't see what we saw from the Mark Twain, and sure enough, we can see those themed elements there over the wall. There's the face on the left, and I'm pretty sure whatever that is on the right, I'm pretty sure that's the fountain. That looks a lot like the fountain that's in the concept art. While we're here, we'll check in on what we were observing from Tiana's Palace and the bandstand. It's through those trees. There you go, right there in the corner. That's unfinished wood right there. That is unfinished wood. We'll come around the front. Yeah, well, obviously that's finished on this side of things, but through that, there you go. You can see it a little bit there. And then from the right-hand side, definitely right there. So what is this? Good question. My guess is they are, in fact, going to turn this thing around. It's going to be able to face in either direction, depending on what show they want to do. What they're doing is they're copying the front, quote unquote, that you see when you're at Tiana's Palace, where the band plays. If it's facing Tiana's, you can see, the front of that bandstand, which we can't show you now because obviously it's covered in a wall. But they're going to create a reverse of that, it looks like, and it's going to face the courtyard. So there will be times when the Jambalaya Jazz Band will turn around, I'm thinking, and play for the courtyard. That's what they're building here, I think. That's something that was suggested in the concept art, where the band is facing in the other direction. I think they're following through on that. Let's go to Haunted Mansion, checking out things. I will advise at this point that I was filming this at 9:45, and I checked the virtual queue, and they were gone at 9:45. And it was probably before that as well. It's probably I would guess that they're probably selling out by at least 9 for that 7 a.m. distribution. So things are getting more and more competitive for Haunted Mansion virtual queue. Here's the latest from the gift shop. They've installed the wooden roof line there. That's just another step, another phase, and then after this, we'll be getting what I would guess are shingles based on the concept art. We're looking at probably shingles there. They're making rapid progress here. They've installed some sheathing on the front entrance. Well, I should say that's not even the front entrance, is it? It's all an entrance. I think there's 4 ways to get into that building. But yeah, there's some sheathing there, so getting ready to install the facade. It'll be some kind of, looks like wood siding will be installed based on the concept art. And then there's the look of things with the gift shop on the left and Tiana's Bayou Adventure on the right. Quite a scene they're creating there. And now I'm shooting this water in the track because it's pretty much a regular scene to see water and logs going through. I observed while I was here, the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree, that they took down the scrim and scaffold that has been obscuring our view of the menu. So I thought I would take a peek, and yeah, they still haven't released the menu. It looks to me like it's just as it was. Same kids meals up there. Let's see, specialties. I can't read the specialties. Oh, that's just the kids meal sign. Let's go get another look. There we go. Chicken, honey spice chicken sandwich, chicken tenders, classic cheeseburger. So even though they're going to open this thing up in 6 days, they haven't yet put up the new sign. It's not like they're not going to. I just think it's interesting that we still can't see the sign right now out in front of Hungry Bear. There you go. That's a better view. Chicken, burgers, salad, the huge. Now we did a proper video, a sneak peek video when the queue space, when they took the walls down. So you can refer to that. So we're just going to kind of breeze through here and talk about, I really love this. I really, really like this. This looks really nice. I love the wood features. I love how heavily they leaned into the wood elements here. And again, I would refer you to, I'll put a link in the description and show you some of the highlights that we've done here. So I'd encourage you to check that out if you haven't already, just to see everything that we found on our first visit to Tiana's after they took the walls down. But for now, I will just express my love for this little setup here. This little gardener's station. It's so cute. Oh, here we go. We got to look at, they're doing some log testing. And we can see, by the way, you could always see from this view. We never really paid much attention to it, but you could always see, especially if you were in the queue. But yeah, they're definitely running vehicles through the track. I want to see a launch. Will we get a launch? There it goes. All right, you guys, that moment when they send you off on Splash Mountain and now Tiana's Bayou Adventure is always fantastic. I like this. There's my 2x4. That's mine right there. Yeah, this looks good. This is our latest condition of the entrance. We're almost there. They will be putting some themed elements on that trellis that's, at the opening here. We saw it before. There was some vinery that they were adding and they took it down. But I expect those wires to eventually hold some sort of, vines, etc. There's the limited murals, not nearly as overt as the ones at Magic Kingdom. I approve both of the art and of its more modest application here. Look at these windows. They've aged the windows. They did all, it looks aged. I love that they can do that. And just look inside. Maybe, can we get in there? Oh, there's a construction worker. Okay. There's some pictures on the left that I was trying to get the camera on, but I couldn't see it with this camera. I have the wrong camera for this job, but that's okay. There's the backside. Again, there's a sign. We're almost there, opening November 15th. And there's just crews everywhere. There's a lot of activity happening back here. When we were here last week, these barriers were gone. You could walk right up to where those workers were right now, then. But they're back up there because they're doing some painting. She's doing some finishing touches on the paint there. There's Lewis's Critter Club. That's going to be opening on November 13th. And then I found this. Guys, there's some sort of secret, wonderful little thing that they're giving us, a surprise. That's some kind of old-timey vehicle back there at the exit. That's Show. Look at that. See the wheels? That's Show. That's going to be there in the exit. Tiana's vehicle. That's kind of neat. I was not expecting this. This was not hinted at any point. There's nothing in the concept art or in the previous videos that we've seen to suggest that we were going to be getting an elaborate themed vehicle like that. I noticed at this point that, I don't know if you could see it, but this is where they used to have the ride photos. You could pick up your ride photos here. They turned this off at Splash Mountain for I want to say the last year or two at least. But you can see the ride photo is still there. And if I'm not mistaken, I can't tell if that's the same. I think that is a new critter. When I was there last on Monday, they still had Brer Fox on the ride photos. But that's some kind of new critter there. If you get really close up, there's a new critter in those. But I guess that means they're going to bring back the ride photo, I guess, right? We'll check in on Pooh Corner next real quick just to see or make sure that Lewis's Critter Club is still, walls are still up there. And they are, but it is going to be coming back soon.
Just think about it, you guys. By the time you're seeing this construction video, I will have been on, hopefully, Disney God's willing. I will have ridden Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Let's go back to New Orleans Square. And we'll take a little break here and enjoy the Bootstrappers.
Let's hear it! We run in the city where really a man up the artist, yo ho! Hey! Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. With fingers and lighters and yellow cats, we got the artist, yo ho! I love by our mommies and dads, we got the artist, yo ho! Sing it! Yo ho, a pirate's life Trust me, let's hear it.
Love the Bootstrappers. Delight every time we see them in New Orleans Square. We caught these guys because we were on our way to check in on the New Orleans Square station. And that brings to mind, let's go back to Tomorrowland, where the walls are down. They've taken the construction walls down here at the Tomorrowland station. The scrim and scaffold are down from the Toontown Bridge, and the construction walls are down at the Toontown Station as well. We can see everything that they are up to or have done at both of those stations, which tells me that they're ready. These guys are ready. They're ready for show, which brought me to the Disneyland Railroad in New Orleans Square. And I wasn't expecting this, but as we saw in the intro, here comes the Disneyland Railroad. You guys, if I'm reading the refurb calendar correctly, which we base a lot of our construction updates on that refurb calendar, it is not. It's on the calendar, the refurb is for October 24th, but it is off the refurb calendar on October 25th. All signs point to the Disneyland Railroad reopening on October 25th. That's incredible. That is a week from when I shot this, and 4 days from when you're watching this video, guests will be on the Disneyland Railroad according to the refurb calendar. Let's hope that is the case. That's the best thing. Oh my God. Train is on the tracks. Caster in the train. We've got to be close. Okay, guys, man, this is exciting. I just can't wait for all this to happen. It feels like it's going to all happen at once, but we got work to do. Let's go to Downtown Disney, where we can see the Marceline's update is continuing. They're still painting the windows, adding the new facade for the sweet treats. And look at this. Now, Parkside Market has gone from, well, they've taken down the scaffold or the scrim. So now we can see there's a lot of facade work being done here. A lot. There's concrete, drywall, there's steel. We can kind of envision almost, we just add a little color, but we can see the shape of things now. We can see the shape of things for Parkside Market. And this can't be too far away either. I mean, it's not close, but, you know, I mean, I remember the Din Tai Fung being in this phase, and we finished a few months later, right? So I'm guessing by looking at this, you know, maybe 4 to 6 months, possibly. Look at that. Look at that's much bigger and more impressive than I would have thought it was, you know, when we saw just the frame of things, just the steel. As for the retail shops to its right, nothing new to report. I mean, they are definitely doing some build out inside. This is that space. The walls are still there, that little cutout. We're looking for maybe a giant Hulk statue to be placed right there. And then we kind of pan to the left, and we can see that they were installing some new windows, it looks like, on that lower part of the part where Parkside connects with the retail building. And we'll just keep shooting this until we see something happening over those walls for Earl of Sandwich. We'll head over to DCA for some final shots. Nothing to report on the main entrance gates. Those are just as we left them last week. I have not seen or heard any reports of testing yet, so we'll have to stand by. But guys, if you happen to see those gates open, feel free to go through and test it for us and let us know your experience. Maybe catch a little video. I'd love that, Street Team. We'll go to Cars Land and see that we're still waiting for the new tables, etc., that they're setting up over here with the umbrellas and, you know, benches, etc. We'll check in on what's happening behind those walls between Cozy Cones and Luigi's. Still dirt, although that looks something like, those look like sonotubes, or at least maybe one sonotube there, so that could be something substantial that they're installing there. That's for concrete. That circular thing with the cutout, it could be, I mean, maybe it is, I don't know, maybe it could just be scrap for all I know, but that does look a lot like a sonotube. And then there's some wood set up over there. I still can't tell what they're doing. Let's go to the other side. Let's go to Luigi's and see what we can find. It's hard to do this with the phone. Oh, a trash can. We got a trash can. Okay, that's something. Actually, it's nothing. There's some wooden, okay, that looks like another sonotube back there. It looks like concrete has been poured already. So it could be for a light fixture. And if we pan down, if it's a light fixture, then that means that maybe it's a space that guests could be at. I don't know. And that actually gets us to the end. That's all of our updates for this week's construction report. Let's summarize the ride closures as of this week. The Disneyland Railroad, obviously it's been closed for a while, but according to the refurb calendar, it's going to reopen on October 25th. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is still closed. We do not have a date, though I expect it to be done hopefully, I mean, by January, but hopefully before then. Hungry Bear, we have a reopening date for that as well. Hungry Bear should reopen on October 25th. Lewis's Critter Club is going to open on November 13th. That's been confirmed by Disney. November 13th. That's just a couple days prior to the official opening. Obviously, Tiana's is scheduled to reopen on November 15th. Small World also reopening on November 15th. Big Thunder, we reported earlier that it's closed. It's going through some refurbs, but there's no confirmed date right now. But as I understand it, it should be just 2 or 3 weeks. By the way, I should mention, there is another refurb coming up in June. That's going to be a little bit more show related, I believe. So stay tuned. Pixie Hollow is still closed, but reopening right now on November 17th. World of Color 1 is scheduled to be returning on stage October 25th. And then Little Mermaid closing on November 4th in a couple weeks, and then reopening on November 23rd. So it's going to be down for just over a week. So I don't expect that to be a monumental refurb as well. And there you go, guys. That's our show. If you like this show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. You can follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDizzy, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok. Don't forget to join our newsletter, link in the description. We do weekly, updates, giving you guys little tips on how to navigate the park or what's happening around the parks these days. Very helpful addition to the Fresh Baked roster. And then that's it, guys. Thank you. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.